Watch the double move. You see it from a different angle. Watch him. Comes up here, stutters him, goes inside, takes it. That's a hell of a route. Like, it looks like that in practice. One thing you got to love about Chris, silky smooth. What is the fastest division? What is the fastest conference in football? Sam, tell me the fastest conference in football. Now, watch this man that's in the SEC leave these guys that are also in the SEC. Woo.
And now it's time for Braylon's breakdown. And yesterday, we broke down Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson as well as Drake London.
And the Drake stuff, you may
have pushed
me a little more to the Drake side.
I'm trying to break it down, State guys. Jesus Christ, where's my Michigan wideouts?
Let's go, U of M.
Okay, Ron, I see you, Coach Bellamy. We got to get some of these Michigan wideouts to be in contention for #1 because I'm tired of talking about these bums down here in Columbus. But they're so damn good you got to. Chris Olave last year was the #1 wideout coming to the season. One thing you got to love about Chris, silky smooth. Silky smooth. Doesn't look like he's running until you see he's gaining yards away from the defenders that are trying to pursue him. Look at the little move right there. Take it back for me, Alex. Take it back for him right there. This right here, little in-motion receiver screen that he...
Yeah, I liked how he duped the linebacker.
You saw him play. Watch this. In motion, receiver screen goes in, throws something at the linebacker, just enough, just to hesitate him, gets wide open, makes the catch. All he does is catch touchdowns, 37 touchdowns career, which is third all time in the Big Ten. Look how he tracks the ball. Alex, I need you to take that one back.
Because that was a bad throw.
That is another reason why I like Chris Olave so much. He reminds me of Larry Fitzgerald at the way in which he tracks the ball. Watch his eyes on this pass. Watch where the ball is. Look where he's initially at. Catches the ball over, watches it all the way down. There's a blind spot that you can't see. When you have to turn like this, briefly you can't see the ball, but he was able to. And, of course, you know what? For as bad as we beat Ohio State last year, they had a lot of big-time catches, and I think C.J. Stroud had over 300 on that game. Go back to that last one for me, please. Right here in the Michigan. He's at the bottom once again, like Garrett Wilson. You think he's covered, but he's not. He's a guy that can stay open. He can make plays. He can jump over you, catch through you. Another thing you like about Garrett Wilson, not Garrett Wilson, but Chris Olave, he's there all game. It doesn't matter, Stick, that you don't throw him the ball. He doesn't mind sharing. You saw what he did last year with Jackson Smith and Jiggly. You saw he let Garrett Wilson get shine. But when the time came for the big play, for that big touchdown, Ohio State was going to Chris Olave in the crunch. That tells you a lot about him because a lot of people like Garrett Wilson. But in the crunch, this was what Ryan Day and that offense was going through. C.J. Stroud was looking for #2. Chris Olave, fast, smooth, silky, plays with others, plays well with others, but he doesn't drop a thing.
Out of the two Ohio State guys, who do you think is a step above the others? Because they're both great, right?
I would say Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave is more polished. I think Chris Olave has mastered every route. I think Chris Olave, being able to track the ball like he does, he doesn't drop. Garrett Wilson has good hands, but he'll drop some passes because he's a hands catcher. He tries to do a lot of spectacular catches. He will drop you some. Chris won't, and he's there. Sometimes wide receivers, trust me, I am one, when you don't get the ball early in the game because they're throwing it to another tight end, because they're running the ball, because somebody else is hot, you tend to fall out the game, and when they come to you in the fourth, shoot, you got to be ready. And sometimes guys aren't ready. Chris Olave is a guy that is ready at all times trying to make that play.
Yeah, that's got to be the toughest part about being a wide receiver. You're running the offense. You run 10 plays in a row. You've run your route as hard as you can 10 times in a row, and you didn't even get a look. But you got to know that 11th time, I still got to be running just as hard.
Well, it is tough because, you look at linemen. Linemen can get contact on every play.
Right.
Every play, an offensive lineman can do something. He can get after somebody, beat somebody up, pancake somebody. The running back is going to get 24 touches a game, not to mention maybe passes out the backfield. Wide receivers, man, you may have a game where you catch 2 passes.
Right.
And you got to be ready. You got to shake that off. So he's a guy that can do it. Not everybody can. Garrett Wilson is a guy that can do it. Coming up next, I think is the fastest on-field player in terms of wide receivers, and that's Jameson Williams. What is the fastest division? What is the fastest conference in football? Sam, tell me the fastest conference in football.
SEC.
SEC, fastest conference in football. Okay, now watch this man that's in the SEC leave these guys that are also in the SEC. Woo. The Joker can run. He is fast. He reminds me of Tyreek Hill a little bit because Tyreek Hill had to learn how to play a wide receiver. I think Jameson Williams is a step above him as it relates to being in that category. But the speed and making plays, a lot of his plays come from one side all the way to the other side and score. This right here, what does he do? There's another one. He just watch the double move. You see it from a different angle. Watch him. Comes up here, stutters him, goes inside, takes it. That's a hell of a route. And that's not a hell of a route because he stuttered. It's how he sold it. He sold the stutter. Then he sold like he was going on the end, and then he goes out wide open for a touchdown. The guy can run. I tell you this, in the national, look at that. Look how he adjusts to the ball, catches it with his hands. If he doesn't get hurt, Stick, if Jameson Williams doesn't get hurt, Georgia is not the national champion. Georgia's not the national champion. They were up when Jameson Williams was balling on Georgia early. He goes down. Game was never the same. The game was over. But you talk about speed.
This play right here, right. When 24 is like literally on the break outside of you, and then you're just able to elevate this. Look at this. Watch him just run away. He just runs away. And
now,
like you said,
you got to put that ball up. He's carrying that ball like a loaf of bread. We got to get that high and tight.
But that's what we talked about yesterday when we were watching film. You want to watch guys that can beat angles. And when you can do that even against fast SEC teams, that is next level.
Just look at this. Feet. Oh. Like, this is just routes on air. This is how you draw it up in practice. Like, it looks like that in practice. What do we got down here? I like this once again. I'll come back to the desk after this play. Just the adjustment. He comes in there, he gets in tight, gives himself space. What he did on that, he got tight to the defender on the inside, gave himself space, and then kicked out and was able to catch it. Jameson Williams, man, I'm telling you, he's a guy. And nowadays with the ACL tears, they're not the same as they were in the past.
Right.
So that ACL tear, he'll be fine. He'll be good literally by December. He should be running at 100% clip, and he should have no reservations in his mind about being able to jump and do all those type of things.
Yeah, we saw it with Cam Akers this year. I mean, how fast people are coming back from tears and stuff like that is absolutely insane nowadays, because it used to be, oh, he tore his ACL, this dude's out for at least a year, at least. But now, no, you could get back in like 6 months, 8 months.
Well, that's because what's happening is doctors are challenging like the recovery process, ways of healing, ways of doing surgery. You know, oh, you know what? Maybe we'll take a cadaver, because I remember when I tore my ACL, the big thing at the time was, do you take a hamstring off a cadaver? Do you take a hamstring off of yourself, or do you take some of your patella? Now, a lot of people weren't using the hamstring at the time. It still was a fairly new process. So I said, hell, what's going to get me back the fastest? They said, well, taking from the hamstring will get you. So they took a little piece of my hamstring off my left leg. They wired it into my ACL and did that, and I got back faster. But I noticed my left ACL, my left hamstring was weak, so I used to always have to work on that. So there are always going to be something when you recover.
Honestly, it's amazing that they're like taking body parts out of dead people and putting them into NFL players and be like, get back out there and be somebody.
Well, that's why I told them, no, I'm cool on that. Like, I took my own hamstring. Like, it was a thought process. My dad, my mom, myself, we were trying to figure out, what are we gonna do? What are we thinking? I said, cadaver? Hell no, abracadabra in my ass. I said, I'll go with a hamstring. It came from my body.
Got a question in the chat. Do you think Williams is available at pick 32 because of the ACL?
If he was available at 32, it would be because of the ACL. Okay. People have some reservations thinking that he just did it. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. He did just tear his ACL, but we've seen it before. You know, where a player that was going to go high. You look at a Willis McGahee type situation. Willis McGahee was the guy that was going to be top 5 pick in that draft. Might even have won Heisman if he started that year. But he gets hurt, national championship game, blows his knee out, still does a combine somehow. I mean, the man was ridiculous. Gets drafted 24th overall to the Buffalo Bills as opposed to top 5. Maybe something like that could happen with Jameson Williams, but fingers crossed, because you're just praying at this point.
Yeah, who was that wide receiver? Ryan Broyles, we drafted in the second round a couple years
Oklahoma.
ago. Is it an ACL that he had too?
I believe so.
Yeah, and unfortunately he was never able to get back to form. So that still kind of scares me, but also, like you said, that was 5 years ago. So technology has changed since then.